Have you ever felt like someone was watching you, but they were just a little too quiet about it? It's not the people who argue with you or block you online that you should worry about. It's the ones who smile sweetly, pretend to care, and quietly plan your destruction. And the scariest part? These people could already be in your life, and you wouldn't even know it until it's almost too late. Let's get this straight. The most dangerous people around you right now aren't the ones who openly dislike you. It's not the ones who speak their mind or show anger to your face. It's the ones who act friendly, charming, even while secretly studying your every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In the worst cases, they're not just plotting your failure, but your downfall, or worse. Sounds dramatic. Maybe, but reality is often far darker than we're prepared to admit. Because while we're busy brushing off weird vibes or writing off people as just quiet, there are individuals out there tracking us, analyzing us, learning how to exploit our routines. And they're doing it all under the radar. This isn't fear-mongering. This isn't paranoia. This is about awareness and the knowledge to protect yourself. What you're about to learn could honestly save your life. We're going to break down 5 chilling signs most people overlook entirely. These aren't just random red flags. They are real behavioral markers that separate normal conflict from something far more sinister. You'll walk away from this knowing how to identify these threats and, more importantly, how to shield yourself. Let's start with the first and most subtle, yet terrifying sign. Number A, they become the silent observer. Now, I'm not talking about the typical nosy neighbor or someone checking your Instagram stories out of boredom. This is different. This is calculated. When someone harbors violent intent, they don't act out in anger. They watch, they study, with a level of focus that's chilling. They learn your routine, your morning coffee spot, your gym hours, your grocery day. But what makes it really scary is how quietly they do it. You never notice until the pattern's already in motion. Think about it. Is there someone who always seems to know where you've been, even when you haven't shared it publicly? Maybe they comment on things you haven't posted, or they show up at places you go often, almost like it's just a coincidence. It's not. This isn't just someone curious about your life. It's someone conducting silent surveillance. They could be watching through mutual friends' posts. They might be using subtle tools, both online and offline, to map out your every move. And when they start showing up in person, at your favorite cafe or gym, right when you do, that's not by chance. That's tactical. Let me make this crystal clear. This is not passive hatred. This is active tracking. These individuals are gathering data about your habits, your weak spots, your patterns, almost like a soldier preparing for an ambush. If someone keeps popping up in your day-to-day life for no clear reason, that's not something to shrug off. Start watching who's watching you. Who's always just around. Who seems to know things they shouldn't. And most importantly, listen to your gut. That uneasy feeling you get around certain people, it might not be anxiety. It might be your instinct warning you before it's too late. And now that you've seen the first sign, let's take a deeper step into the second one, because the next behavior is even harder to detect, yet even more dangerous. Before we uncovered the first chilling sign, when someone quietly observes you, tracking your life with disturbing precision. But what happens when they take it one step further and begin to actively dismantle your world? Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman whose story perfectly embodies our second deadly sign. At first, she thought her coworker was just moody, maybe a little competitive. But over time, a pattern began to form. And it was terrifying that this coworker wasn't just difficult. He was deliberately, systematically targeting every pillar of her life, chipping away at her confidence, her relationships, and even her career. This leads us to deadly sign number 2, the saboteur strategy. These individuals don't simply want to hurt you, they want to erase you from your own support system. They start slow, quiet, subtle. They spread toxic little whispers behind your back. Not obvious lies, but sneaky doubts carefully crafted to sound believable. They drop these lies into the ears of your closest friends, colleagues, even family. Just enough to make people second guess you. It's not a full-blown smear campaign, yet. But piece by piece, they plant the idea that you're unstable, unreliable, maybe even dangerous. And here's where it gets truly sinister. They do it all in a way that makes each incident seem completely disconnected, isolated, harmless, until you start to connect the dots. Think back. Have you recently felt like someone was quietly behind all your conflicts, yet somehow always looked innocent in the end? This isn't normal drama. It's a strategy, a step-by-step attack. They aim to isolate you, to turn others against you, to make you question your own reality. While they ruin your reputation at work, they're also working to fracture your personal relationships. And the worst part? They'll often pretend to be your ally. They'll act like they care while twisting the knife behind the scenes. This isn't emotional outburst or petty gossip. This is psychological warfare. They're not just trying to make you look bad. They're trying to leave you alone, unprotected, and easy to destroy. So what can you do? Start documenting everything. Keep emails. Save text messages. Write down every incident, no matter how small it seems. The more records you have, the better. Because these people count on making you look irrational or paranoid. But the facts will speak for you, and more importantly, begin building your own circle of trust. Surround yourself with people who truly know you, who see through the lies, because as we move into the third deadly sign, you'll see how these toxic individuals take things even further by twisting your emotions and using your own kindness as a weapon. Earlier, we talked about how some people quietly dismantle your support system with precision. But what if the person doing it is the one you've let closest to your heart? Now let's uncover deadly sign number 3, the false friend facade. At first, it seems innocent, maybe even flattering. Someone who once barely noticed you suddenly becomes unusually warm. They ask how you're doing, seem deeply interested in your life, and go out of their way to be there for you. But here's what should send chills down your spine. This shift isn't random. It's calculated. This isn't just someone trying to reconnect or be nice. It's someone creating the perfect position to strike. They don't just become friendly, they embed themselves into your life. They become your confidant, the person you vent to, the one who offers advice when you're stressed. They listen intently, nod supportively, and all the while, they're taking notes. They get close to your friends. They charm your family. They play the long game, and they play it well. Why? Because every secret you share becomes a loaded weapon in their hands. Your vulnerabilities become their playbook. Have you noticed someone in your circle suddenly asking too many personal questions? Not just surface-level stuff, but the kind of questions that dig into your routine, your fears, your insecurities. They may ask about where you go, who you talk to, what scares you under the disguise of care. But their goal isn't to understand you. It's to control you. They're not supporting you, they're studying you. This is what makes the false friend facade so dangerous. While you're opening up, they're quietly building a strategy, using your own trust as their weapon. It's like inviting a snake into your home, only to realize too late that it's been coiled at your feet the entire time. That's why it's crucial to pay attention. If someone's interest in your life feels too intense, too fast, or if their behavior feels too perfectly timed, it's okay to question it. In fact, you should. True friends don't need full access to your every move to care about you. But a manipulator? They thrive on intel. Now that you know how they can use friendship as a disguise, the next sign reveals how they manipulate not just your trust, but your emotions, and they do it by mirroring your pain. Now we enter truly dangerous territory. Deadly sign number 4. The escalation phase. These people don't just want your friendship. They want full access to your home, your workplace, your routine, and especially the places where you feel safest. They're not building connection, they're building a blueprint for destruction. Here's where it gets even more chilling. When someone wants to do serious harm, they rarely jump straight to violence. That's not how it starts. Instead, they test the waters. At first, the aggression seems playful, harmless, maybe even funny. They might say something like, "I could kill you right now," then laugh and wave it off as a joke. Or maybe they show off their knife collection or mention something violent in casual conversation, just enough to make you uncomfortable. But don't brush it off. These are not jokes. These are psychological probes. They're watching how you react. Do you laugh nervously? Stay silent? Do you confront them or let it slide? This is where their twisted strategy begins. A deliberate, calculated escalation. It starts with words, dark humor, backhanded threats, intimidating phrases. Then it moves into your physical space. They might start standing too close, bumping into you by accident, or blocking your way just enough to make you feel cornered. These aren't innocent mistakes. They're measuring your boundaries and your tolerance. And here's the deadly truth. Every time you don't react or push back, they go further. That joke about hurting you becomes more specific. That bump in the hallway turns into a shove. What once seemed awkward or off-putting transforms into physical intimidation. This isn't someone having a bad day. This is someone running a silent experiment on you. They're testing how far they can go before you fight back or before you break. That's why recognizing this pattern early could literally save your life. So, if someone consistently pushes your comfort zone and masks it as humor or clumsiness, don't ignore it. Document it. Tell someone. Trust your gut, because once you see these signs, you're no longer dealing with random conflict. You're dealing with a person preparing to cross the line. And in the final deadly sign, we'll expose what happens when this person stops hiding and begins the final phase of their plan. Earlier, we uncovered how subtle jokes and physical intimidation aren't harmless. They're signs of a dangerous pattern. But what if none of those signs are obvious? What if the real threat is hiding in plain sight, behind a calm smile and years of patient manipulation? Now let's reveal the fifth and most dangerous sign of all. The patient predator. Unlike others, who lash out in the moment or escalate quickly, the patient predator operates in silence. No raised voices, no immediate threats. Instead, they play what can only be described as the long game and understanding. This could literally save your life. These people are masters of disguise. They don't rush. They don't act on impulse. They think in terms of months, sometimes even years. Every move is calculated. Every word is intentional. Their aim isn't a quick jab, it's the perfect ambush. And here's where it gets truly chilling. They use time as their greatest weapon. They ask about your future, where you're going, who you'll be with, what your long-term plans are. But they're not interested in your dreams. They're mapping your future so they can find the most vulnerable point to strike. They'll build a life around you, maybe as a kind coworker, a helpful neighbor, or even a close friend. All the while, they're waiting, watching, studying. That's what makes them so deadly. They don't wave red flags. They blend in. They build trust over years just to betray it at the perfect moment. By the time you realize what's happening, it might be too late. So let's be honest here. If any of these 5 signs feel familiar, you're not just dealing with someone who dislikes you. You could be dealing with someone preparing to destroy you. The only thing standing between you and becoming another tragic story is what you decide to do with this information. Because now, you know the 5 deadly indicators. The silent observer, saboteur, the false friend, the escalating aggressor, the patient predator. Ignoring these signs now isn't just careless, it could be fatal. So before you click away, do 2 things. First, save this video. You may need to revisit it when your instincts start whispering again. Second, go watch the next video on your screen. It will show you how to recognize covert narcissists, which often go hand in hand with these dangerous behaviors. Because remember, knowledge is your first line of defense, but action is what keeps you alive. Stay smart, stay alert, and most importantly, stay alive.